The version 3.8 livestream has concluded, and it was revealed that Honkai Star Rail's 4.0 update would be delayed by 2 weeks, which has been causing a massive uproar in the community. But why exactly was it delayed? And why are two of some of the biggest governments in the world involved? Before we can get into it, I have to provide a little bit of context behind the company that develops the game. Honkai Star Rail is a game produced by Hoyoverse in China, where they are known as MiHoYo. They do have significant ties to the Chinese government, mostly due to it being a major tech company operating out of there. They do also have ties to the Chinese Communist Party, or the CCP, which is one of the largest political parties on Earth with almost 100 million members. Even the man himself, Dawei, is part of the CCP. Honkai Star Rail very frequently uses real-world locations as influence for its planets. The Shenzhou Luofu is heavily inspired by China, Penacony is heavily inspired by Jazz Age America, and Forius is very heavily inspired by ancient Greece. You get the idea. And when they take such heavy inspiration from these, the location sometimes plays part in the story too. Think of Amphorius' heavy emphasis on titans and gods. The next region in Honkai Star Rail was planned to be Japanese themed. At the end of the 3.7 story, the IPC broadcast mentions a planet called Benzai Tengoku.
The ongoing Worlds Reborn initiative has officially entered its third phase, as Benzai Tengoku continues to make remarkable strides in cultural revitalization.
Even the new planner set in this update, Tengoku Livestream, tells a story about Benzai Tengoku. The IPC broadcast even speaks about the Aeon of Elation. One of the groups devoted to Elation is the Masked Fools, consisting of characters like Sampo and Sparkle. The recent Try Not to Laugh challenge featured her in a possible teaser for a playable Elation path. She is also pretty clearly supposed to resemble Japan in her design. So a Japanese-inspired area in a Chinese game. Pretty common, right? Genshin even did this before with Inazuma and it went fine. However, this time around, the timing could not have been worse due to real-life disputes. China and Japan have a very long complex history, dating back over 100 years. The main issue relies on small islands in the East China Sea, known as Senkaku, Diaoyu, or Diaoyutai Islands, with the name differing from Japan, China, and Taiwan respectively. While the region is administered by Japan, China and Taiwan often claim it, resulting in frequent disputes between the Coast Guard and the military. When it comes to Taiwan, it is actually known as the Republic of China, although it still has its own military, currency, and president. The Chinese constitution states that Taiwan is a sacred territory of the People's Republic of China, while the 2005 anti-secession law authorizes possible military force for the unification of Taiwan. The Japanese Prime Minister, Sainai Takeichi, has said that a Chinese attack on Taiwan could trigger the country's self-defense forces if they pose a threat to Japan. In response, China viewed that as provocative. And the effects of these conflicts have already been shown in real life. China began to issue warnings on students and travel in Japan, with China being one of Japan's biggest sources of tourism in the country. They also postponed the releases of Japanese films in cinemas, including Cells at Work and Crayon Shin-chan the movie. Several concerts by Japanese artists have been cancelled in China. In late November, Maki Otsuki, a Japanese singer, was performing in Shanghai, China when she was rushed off stage by several crew members. Another Japanese artist named Ayumi Hamasaki was cancelled by organizers in Shanghai, citing unforeseeable circumstances. Despite that, she would go on to perform in an empty stadium and plans to release it as a recording in the future. The long and short of it is, despite being large trading partners, China and Japan really don't like each other that much due to historical as well as recent reasons, and current events have only made that worse, deepening the dispute between the two countries. I think you're starting to realize that this is a much larger situation than people realize. I'm trying to keep it short, but even when I was looking into it, I was baffled by how deep it went. Due to the next location's Japanese theming, with increased tensions between it and Hoyo's country of origin, Star Rail is likely going to be removing all of its Japanese elements before we go into 4.0. It would make sense why we didn't get any drip marketing for the new characters and no trailer whatsoever. There's even another rumor regarding the character of Rappa. 3.8 will feature a character who will help bring Rappa back into relevancy, Dahlia. If there were any time to rerun her, it would be now. However, Rappa is a character who is based on a ninja, and ninjas come from Japan. It's probably not the best idea to rerun her at the moment,
but you know, it's just a theory.
And to be clear, this is not the first time Honkai Star Rail or just Hoyoverse as a whole has been impacted by real-world events. A few years ago in Genshin Impact, the 2.7 update was delayed for some time. This is due to strict COVID regulations in China, including in Shanghai, where Hoyo HQ is located. You might remember the infamous 240-day Ayaka banner that was used as a placeholder, resulting in the update being delayed for 3 weeks. If we want to go even further back, we can see cases of this all the way back in 2021. Genshin was going to release their newest 5-star at the time, one of my personal favorites, Hu Tao. For those who don't know, Hu Tao is a director of the Wangshan Funeral Parlor, with strong ties to ghosts and the dead. It is considered taboo to talk about things like that during Chinese New Year, so her banner was moved. And while she has reran during the patches where Lancer Rite occurred, she has never ran on the days of the Chinese New Year festival itself. Hoyoverse has shown themselves to adjust to real-life situations, and this seems like another case of that. However, this could be one of the biggest shifts that we've ever had. The seeds have been planted for a while now, especially with a character like Sparkle, who's rumored to be the main focus. I expect most of the Japanese aspects to be fully removed here. At the time I'm recording this, they just revealed a bit of the roster, and while it matches up to what we were expecting with Elation, it's unclear how much Japanese inspiration it will have. Sparkle and Yae Sakura are both Japanese-inspired characters, and I would not be surprised at all if other characters also followed those designs. The name has also officially been revealed to be Planarcardia, no longer a Japanese name. We know that these regions can take months or even years to develop. If I had to guess, they were probably on 4.3 or 4.4 by now. There's no way they have time to completely abandon ship and make a whole new region now. Things like the character designs, the music, the voice acting in 4 different languages, and a good chunk of the story are all probably done by now. It's hard to know how good this region is even going to be. 2 months is simply not enough time to go back and change everything. I don't want to sound like a Doom poster, but I expect the quality out of the next region to be quite low due to all the crunch work that needs to be put in. Hoyo might be worth billions, but money can't buy time, and a solution as unprecedented as this is definitely not helping their case. As a player, I definitely see why many are angry. 3.8 as a whole already looks underwhelming, and given how low the bar already was, adding 2 weeks onto it is definitely not going to help. Don't get me wrong, I am excited to see characters like Firefly and Penacony as a whole, and Dahlia is a very attractive character. However, it's difficult to try to enjoy this update when I have the feeling in the back of my head that the upcoming stuff has a very high likelihood to be underbaked. I wish we could have gotten a rerun of an old event or something, but the notice was so short they probably didn't have the time. Instead of event reruns, we got banner reruns, so now there's more ways to spend your money. At the time I'm recording this, Hoyo just handed out 1,000 Jades and 10 fuel as compensation, so I'm glad that they at least acknowledged the situation and told us a bit about what's going on. The content to make up for those 2 weeks are admittedly quite lacking, but right now, Hoyo definitely has bigger fish to fry. On the content creator side of things, I feel like this is going to be a very rough 2 months. HSR and its content creators have a mutually beneficial relationship. HSR pushes out new updates for players to enjoy, creators make content on said updates, which then results in more exposure or possibly money for Hoyo. It's also a game that relies heavily on its characters for content. I'm sure guide makers are going to have a very rough time with content in the next few months because Dahlia is our only new unit. I fully expect content creators to dive into other games like 3.0 of Wuthering Waves in the meantime. I don't like defending multi-billion-dollar companies, but I can't help but feel bad for the developers here. All that work put into this region, just to have to make changes to it at the very last minute that can very much harm the quality of the product. It's out of their control, and the truth is now, no one is happy. This conversation also opens the door for the discussion about political issues affecting games. Now I know people don't like talking about stuff like this, nor really do I, but I do think it is relevant here. Gacha, and just video games in general, is seen by many as an escape from reality. Sometimes it is nice to just open your computer and see the cute anime girls, but the fact of the matter is, politics affect everything that we do. I get it, people don't want to hear about the geopolitical and economic state of the world right now. We're here to have fun and play our silly little gambling games, but at the end of the day, I still believe it's important to be at least somewhat aware of real world issues. But is this the end all be all? Is this the end of Star Rail? Of course not. Hoyo gets a lot of criticism, much of it justified, but this situation is really not in their hands. I won't lie and say that I'm not worried for the next region because I very much am, but I'm praying that Hoyo will be able to make the best of it. We know that Hoyo is still capable of making good regions, Nodcry is proof of that, but a major setback like this is definitely going to hurt them. All we can do now is hope that Hoyo has the ability to bounce back from this, and realistically, they probably do, but we're just gonna have to wait and see. I know this is a bit of a different video, but let me know in the comments if you want more news style videos like this. If you enjoyed, please be sure to like and subscribe, and consider joining the Discord down below. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.
Texting and crying, but it won't last. Leaving all the pain in the past, toxicity with so much passion.